Hello, I'm Dan Rogers, and today we are here with Dr. Ron Charles, who is probably one of the most fascinating people alive today. Ron, welcome.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it.
Let's
Thanks for
tell
the invite.
yeah, let's tell the people out here in West Texas a little bit about who Ron Charles is. Now you're a doctor. You've written a lot of books. You just have a very interesting history.
Well, we um, primarily were missionaries, and we couldn't get into the countries where we were missionaries, which is in Albania as well as Egypt, uh, during the administrations that we were there 45 years ago. So we had to go in through archaeology. And so we archaeology became our umbrella, and we served in Albania for 6 years, and then now have been in Egypt for 35 years, and we're still there under that umbrella of archaeology. But the missionary work um, has has become forefront, and we don't have to hide under that umbrella any longer.
So you're able to operate in the open now.
Yes, we are.
Well, that's good. And are you still primarily in Albania? Or are you in other parts
No, we're primarily in Egypt.
in
We
Egypt?
yeah, we have a we support widows there about close to 2,000 widows a month, plus about the same number of orphans, and we also help the persecuted believers that are out in the desert, the Bedouins and those types of folks. Um, Primarily the helping the widows are is in Cairo and in Alexandria, and we helping with the persecuted believers out in the desert, out on the border of Libya and the border of Chad and the border of Sudan, primarily.
So do you see a lot of Muslims converting to Christianity?
Um, we see a lot of Muslims interest in Christianity, and they will be interested if this week, and later on in the week they're still interested, and then you come back and talk to them 2 weeks later, and they said, "Oh, by the way, I'm converted." And so you don't necessarily see it happening per se, but you see the results of it quite often.
So it's kind of a quiet operation.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that they
The thing with
probably need
thing
to be.
with Islamic conversions is that you become their friend first, and then once you become their friend, then they open up, and then you can tell them about Jesus.
So are they kind of a hard people to get to know?
Um, it all depends on how you approach it. If you approach it from the aspect of ugly American that you need to convert uh, to um, uh, to the American way of doing things, then yes, it's difficult.
Yeah.
But if you approach them from an equal perspective, is that you're my friend, and I want to know about you, and I want to know about your people, then it's quite easy. Yes,
Well, that's good. So it's all at the end of the day, it's like everything else in the world. It's all about people.
yes, it is
It's not about machines or computers or AI or it's about people.
absolutely.
Now, it's
And
my understanding you had some interesting work in the archaeological areas and you were able to find some pretty important artifacts.
we especially in Albania, where that was a closed country, and we were actually the first Westerners in there for hundreds of years. It was closed because it was under Turkish rule or Ottoman rule for 500 years, and then it was under Nazi rule, and then after that it was under communist dictatorship. and probably the most ruthless communist dictatorship in all of Europe. And people were extremely persecuted, and religion was just not allowed. They in Verhoja, the communist dictatorship, or the communist dictator, said that he was very proud of the fact that theirs was the first and only country in the world to acknowledge atheism as their religion, and Albanianism as their religion, that God was not allowed in their country. And so it was very difficult. And so we use archaeology to show the people that that their ancestry actually was Christian, and we would do digs, especially in a Roman amphitheater that was there in the country, was built in the first and second century by Christian labor, and more than 5,000 Christians died in that arena through the blood games and through the animals and so forth. And so we would find these various artifacts, and it was broadcast on Albanian television, and we would tell them, it says, you people have been told what to do for millenniums. You had no choice. The Romans told you what to do. The Greeks told you what to do. The Byzantine told you what to do. The Ottomans told you what to do, and they gave you no choice. Said there's only been one time in your history that you chose religion, and because you had the choice, you chose Christianity, and this particular artifact shows your Christian heritage. And so it was quite phenomenal on how we were able to use that to evangelize the people of Albania.
So you're proving the Bible right in front of them.
That's correct.
Land.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful.
We had one incident. We were the first and second century Christians were buried usually all the same way, whether it was in Europe or in the East or in Africa or wherever. The Christian was laid on their right side with their right hand underneath their head and with their left hand extended, and they were brought up into kind of a fetal position, and they were buried that way. We were excavating one of those Christian graves, and then in that extended left hand, the people are normally buried with something that was very near and dear to them. And whether it's a necklace or an amulet of some sort, or maybe even a lock of your children's hair or something that you were buried with it. Well, we were, our scientists told us that what the grave that we were excavating was a girl, and she was probably about 14 years old when she died, and her entire left side was it was all broken bones, and you could still see the teeth prints of the animals that was still on the bones. And I had two atheist students from the University of Toronto working with me, and all of a sudden they, I was working down at the feet, getting the dust off of the bones of the feet, and they were up at this extended left hand, and they were working up there. Then all of a sudden they went nuts. They started crawling out of the grave, and I told them, I said, "You get back down here. We're not finished yet. We still got 4 hours of work to do." And they said, "No, we will not." And so I said, "Why? What's the problem?" So they pointed down at that extended hand. So I went up there and they kicked dirt back on it. And so I wiped all the dirt off of it. And in that extended hand was a small little clay tablet. And in that clay tablet that was buried with this girl was written in Greek. It says, "For the cause of Christ, I lay down my life." And one of those students accepted Christ right there in that arena, that same arena where 5,000 of his ancestors had died. And not only did he accept Christ, but he later became pastor of a church there in Albania.
So you made a believer out of him.
He did, yes.
Well, that's a fascinating story. Well, there's a lot going on over there in the Middle East. You've got Iran and Israel going at it, and then we have Turkey seems to be all of a sudden popping up, and Egypt, and activity in Syria with Israel.
Yes.
And you see, is it because Israel, they think, weakened from all their fighting, that all of a sudden Turkey's wanting to see if they can't harm Israel?
Well, I think that's the case. I think that Turkey is kind of feeling sorry for Iran, and they feel that although Israel is just a very small country, Turkey has accused them of being a big brother that likes to beat up on their little brothers. And the little brothers meaning the countries that are around there. They claim that that Israel would be nothing but just a poverty-stricken nation without the help of America. And so Turkey is kind of taken the side of the little brothers, so to speak, like they'd be like the neighbor across the street that's now coming into the family and sticking up for the little brothers that are getting beat up by Israel. And so I don't know how far that's going to go. Turkey has been invited to be a part of the Abraham Accords, and so if with the attitude that they have now, that probably would not be possible because the Abraham Accord says that you recognize Israel, you recognize Israel's right to exist, you recognize Israel's political state, and that they are on equal standings with all their neighbors, and that they are open to trade with Israel. And so, with the opinion that Turkey has now for Israel, I don't see how they can maintain that same stand.
Well, it's my understanding, or I've been told by people in our should know within our government that it's actually the Muslim Brotherhood that's behind a lot of the Antifa, Black Lives Matter, even some of the trans movement and all that. That's actually in the background is being pushed and supported by the Muslim Brotherhood, and all of it's actually ran out of Turkey. Is that correct?
Muslim Brotherhood is behind, I would say, 75% of all the trouble. And I've been on Muslim Brotherhood's hit list for years, and they want to their sole purpose in life is to exterminate Israel and anyone that's associated with them and any allies that they have. And Muslim Brotherhood is definitely behind the majority, and they will probably continue until Muslim Brotherhood is totally put on the top shelf and out of the way completely. And I don't see that happening anytime soon. Right now, in Egypt, where we are, we spend a lot of many months out of the year in Egypt. Muslim Brotherhood is the primary enemy. Muslim Brotherhood, as well as ISIS, who are allied now with Muslim Brotherhood.
Well, it's my understanding they have a huge presence. Actually, the largest presence is in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, really?
And also a lot in Chicago, of course, Minneapolis, Michigan. They have a lot of Muslim Brotherhood in those major cities. But
That's not good.
but you wouldn't know. How do you identify them? You can't.
No,
That's the
they
problem.
they blend in with the American culture.
Yeah, yeah, but they do not like Americans, and their goal is to destroy America. So it's now you're involved in the Abraham Accords, were you not?
Yeah, I was asked to uh, by um, by Egypt to represent their interests in the Abraham Accords. So um, I was able to author some of the points uh, that they were interested in, and so yeah, I was able to be involved in that regard, and they they still ask my opinion from time to time.
Well, so what do you see transpiring over there? How do you see all this playing out?
Well, if Saudi Arabia is tired of war, Kuwait's tired, United Arab Emirates is tired of it, um, Oman's tired of it, Qatar, uh, they could be tired of it if they really wanted to, but they're not. They they're the bank for this terrorist activity of Hamas and so forth. So I think that as these Islamic countries become disillusioned and really get tired of all the violence and uh, all the destruction of the people and the economy and everything else, I think maybe uh, the balance is going to tip into that of peace rather than war. Um, and those countries that I mentioned are they're pretty strong on the fact that we're tired of this. We don't want any more of it. And recently, Jordan has even joined in that. And I see the people of Lebanon really rising up against it also. And so I think that there's enough um, Islamic um, dissatisfaction and disillusionment going on right now that I think that that acceptance of peace is going to be is going to be next on the agenda. And of course, a lot's going to depend on whether Israel is going to um, keep their gun in their holster or not. Um, I had a meeting with Mr. Netanyahu not long ago, and he told me, he says, there's two ways to kill a fly that is bothering you. And we have flies that bother us. You can either use a fly swatter or you can use a shotgun. Israel chooses to use the shotgun. And so if Israel can keep its gun in its holster for a while and let the peace process play out, I think that there's enough dissatisfaction with the violence and the war and all of the problems that comes with that there can be a peaceful resolve.
Well, and you would think just from an economic standpoint, they prefer to settle that and trade with one another.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Everybody benefits, but it's probably not the people, right? It's a few leaders that are the problem.
No, that's correct. Yeah, the people are tired. They're
Yeah.
tired of the whole thing. I've been at it for a few thousand years, and they're just tired of it. And but yeah, it's just a few of the leaders, those that are in power to make decisions, that are keeping the pot boiling.
They want it to be about them, not their people.
That's correct.
Yeah. So, well, hopefully that plays out the way you suspect. That gives us hope, right?
Yes, yeah, it does. No, I'll be involved with some of the negotiations here within the next month, and hopefully when we meet together, um, there'll be some positive progress.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, why don't we tell the people out here in West Texas about is it the Cubit Foundation.org?
The Cubit Foundation, CUBIT, and yeah, we you can go to our website on cubitfoundation.org and see everything about us. We're primarily we are a humanitarian slash education organization, and we have ministry opportunities in Egypt, India, and in all well throughout the Middle East, as well as in South America. My son is in charge of all of our South America and Latin America ministry opportunities, and so that is in the website also. But we have a farm in Egypt, a 15-acre farm, and all the product that comes off of that farm, we give it to our widows to feed them and to our orphans, and then that is left over, we take it to the market and sell it, and the money goes to the widows for them for doctors and dentists and school supplies and things like that. And so it's doing very well. My oldest son is taking charge of the administration of the farm, and so things are progressing, and things are getting done.
It's amazing what you can produce on 15 acres.
Oh yeah, oh
And
yeah, it
water.
is. It is.
Feed a lot of people.
Now that particular land, before we got it, was producing about 1 ton of product per acre. And since we've had it, and since God has been blessing it, and and the name of the farm is called God's Widow's Farm. And so we give God the credit right off the top. And right now we're averaging 9 tons per acre.
Wow.
And so the blessings are obvious.
Yeah. Well, if you believe in God and you obey him, he kind of takes care of you.
He does. He does.
It's really, I always tell people life really isn't that complicated. The problem is none of us want to obey, right?
Yeah, we want to get in the way. We want to get in the way rather than to obey.
Exactly. We want to do it our way, not his way.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate you coming and talking to us, Ron.
Well, thank you, Dan.
Look forward to it again. And if we can ever help you with anything out here in West Texas, let us know.
Well, I love West Texas. I was born and raised in East Texas, in Gilgore.
Oh yeah.
And so I got oil still in my veins, and so I love everything about Texas.
Where are you now? Are you in?
Oh, we live in Monroe, Georgia, right now. Yeah.
Okay. So, do you get over to Israel and Egypt and that area very often?
Yes, sir. We were spending about 10 months out of the year over there, but because of some physical problems, we've had to cut it back. And so we probably get over there maybe 4 to 5 months out of the year. In fact, I'll be going back. I'll be going back in August.
Well, it sounds like you're doing phenomenal work, and there's probably nothing more honorable than taking care of the widows and the orphans. So we appreciate all that you do for those people, and I'm sure they appreciate it too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Ron,
Yes, sir.
Could you tell Dan real quick? Ron, I've never known anyone like Ron that has done all the things he's done yet he doesn't talk about it. Could you tell Dan real quick about what happened with the nuclear plant and the avalanche and when Discovery Channel and time and all that picture of you with the Russian pilot and Noah's Ark?
Right. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well,
That sounds like a fascinating story.
we had, uh, so yeah, it was I don't know if you remember, in 1988, there was an earthquake in eastern Turkey and on the border of Armenia and Turkey, and it killed a number of people. And the big mountain there on the border is called Agradai, and in the west they call it Ararat, and
Yeah.
it has a permanent ice cap on that mountain, and during the Cold War years, there was constructed on the north side of the mountain, right at the base of the mountain in Armenia, a Soviet military base, and it was a nuclear military base. And then NATO built a nuclear base on the south side of the mountain at the base in Turkey. And so when this earthquake hit, it was kind of centered on Agradai, and the powers that be were quite concerned that the earthquake had broke open the permanent ice cap up there, and that ice was going to come storming down the mountain and wipe out those military bases on either side and causing a nuclear catastrophe. And so there was a number of pictures taken and so forth. I never did find out whether the ice was stable or not. So they put together an expedition, and it was a joint venture between the United States and Turkey and Russia, and they put together some people to go on a physical expedition to go there and determine whether the ice was stable or not. And I was invited to be part of that group. There were 13 of us that made up the expedition. And then we had the military that was there with us, and the government medias and so forth. But Russia supplied all the high tech equipment and the helicopter, and the Turkey supplied all of the equipment that we would need, climbing gear, and they secured the permits and everything. And America supplied the team and the money.
All right. Well, we will see you soon, Ron.
Okay, Dan. I appreciate you being on the program, and thanks for the invite.